All right, time for a brand new game show that we're calling From the Slot. Our contestants today, Bryan Hayes, Frankie Corrado. Something tells me both of you guys have been to the slot machines once or twice during your careers, so this should be easy for you. Here are the rules. I'm going to ask you a question. Our fancy new slot machine is going to reveal a couple of options for you, sometimes two, sometimes three. Then we get to debate. You guys ready? You're
perfect.
In? You're in?
Yeah,
okay.
let's do it.
Let's start. Question number one. Who's going to record more points this season? Oh, guys, Sidney Crosby or Connor Bedard? Bryan, you're up.
Sidney Crosby by a mile. I would hammer this slot machine. I would sit there in a diaper for 24 hours and just continue to pull at this slot machine. If I have to, I will, because this thing is spitting out winners, and it's Sidney Crosby all day.
And the second you leave that slot machine, I hope you leave your quarter in there, because I'm jumping right over and I'm pulling that slot machine, because Sidney Crosby is going to have another monster year. Connor Bedard is probably going to have a great year, Gino, but he's just getting going in the league. We're talking about Sid the Kid, Sidney Crosby. This guy has been exceptional year after year after year. It's
Former
Crosby
teammate.
all day.
Yeah, all right. Austin Matthews was asked if Connor Bedard could match his 4-goal total in his NHL debut, and he said, I'm sure he can get 6. So Austin Matthews is a believer. All right, let's get back to our fancy slot machine. Which player is more likely to re-sign with their current team? 3 options this time. All, of course, pending unrestricted free agents. Willie Nylander, Connor Hellebuyck, or Mark Scheifele. Frankie, you're up.
William Nylander. There's just something about being a Maple Leaf, Gino. And Willie Nylander, yes, the other guys have been in Winnipeg for their whole career. Willie Nylander's been a Leaf for his whole career. I just think the Leafs, with the direction that they're going, they're on the cusp of doing something great here. They're in the playoffs year after year. It's a team that's going in the right direction. And we've just seen it in the past with Winnipeg. As much as I love Winnipeg, the city, the people, there's been some players that have wanted to leave. There have been some turbulent times with those players involved. Willie Nylander has a better chance of re-signing in Toronto.
Yeah, I mean, the cap plays a factor here, though, right, Frankie? And money, there's only so much to go around. And I think William Nylander deserves to be paid. He wants to be paid, and I think he'll make sure he gets paid. That's why I'm actually going to go with Mark Scheifele on this one.
Okay.
Because Winnipeg, I don't know if they're going to necessarily overpay extensively, but I think they're more desperate to keep at least one of Hellebuyck and or Scheifele. I'm not sure Hellebuck's there long term. In fact, I'd probably bet that he leaves. But Scheifele, I think if they overpay him, he'd stay.
All right, as you hinted to, the Leafs have the toughest path to coming to a deal. They're one of only 2 teams with negative cap space right now after shifting players to LTIR. They're still almost $3 million over the cap right now. Just to let you know, these guys don't know what's coming up. So let's go next. Which player will have a bigger impact this season? Here are your options. The Tkachuk brothers. Matthew, fresh off a trip to the Stanley Cup final, and Brady, the captain of the upstart Ottawa Senators. Bryan, start us off.
I'm going to stick with the older brothers still. I'm going with Matthew Tkachuk. The guy had just an incredible season last year, all the way up until the end when he ran into a serious injury. He's obviously recovered from that. I think he's going to have another great year, his second year in Florida. I think he's the leader down there. He's comfortable. I think Florida's still a little bit better than Ottawa, but it's close. It's very close. But in terms of the high-impact offense, I'm still going to go with Matthew.
I'm going to go with Brady just based on the fact that Matthew had a really long spring and he was pretty banged up. And, you know, that kind of weighs into your summer training and going into this season. And with where the Ottawa Senators are going to be going, Brady Tkachuk is going to need to have a big season alongside Tim Stützle to lead the way. So I could see him taking a massive jump this year. Doesn't necessarily mean Brady's always going to be better than Matthew going forward. But right now, at this moment, the conditions are better for Brady to have a better year than Matthew.
All right, one more, and I think you guys are going to like this because this is going to poke the bear a little. Which agitator would be most aggravating to play against? Two good suggestions. New Bruins captain Brad Marchand or Tom Wilson, Bryan?
Okay, aggravating, not terrifying, right?
Not terrifying.
Okay.
Not afraid to play against, just aggravating to play against.
Aggravating is Marchand. Aggravating is the new captain of the Boston Bruins because he might lick you. He's going to chirp you the whole game. There's a lot of different things he can do to you. Tom Wilson would beat the hell out of me. He'd beat the hell out of all 3 of us at the same time. At the same time.
With his hands tied behind his back.
Absolutely. Yeah. Tom Wilson is more terrifying, but aggravating, I'm going with the new captain down in Boston.
I 100% agree. And, you know, being someone who's played against both these guys, there's a fear factor when Wilson is on the ice because he's going to catch you. He's going to forecheck hard. He's going to put you right through the end boards. You have to be careful in the the middle of the ice. Marchand to a certain degree, but he's just always sticking you in the leg, or he's giving you like a little butt in. And nothing crazy. He's
the poster boy.
He's the poster boy for being a pest, and he's constantly talking to you, chirping you, and it doesn't matter who you are. You could be a good player, you could be an irrelevant player. As a matter of fact, if you're an irrelevant player, it stings a little bit more because you're like, why, man? I have so little in this game. Why are you coming after me? But he doesn't care. That's who he is. He's agitating, he's aggravating, and he's a little more aggravating than Tom Wilson.
Marchand holds the NHL record for most times suspended with 8 separate bans. Wilson not that far behind. He's been suspended 5 different times. And that is our first edition of the Slots. Did you guys enjoy that? That was
very much.
That was good.
Loved it.